Hello and welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Well, folks, Codo Cinema Christmas Month continues, and for this episode, this one is going to be a bit of a surprise. Hence the title of this episode, which I'm pretty sure everybody read it right. And yes, the movie topic that I'm going to talk about for this episode will be Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands. And I'm pretty sure everybody who's reading the title of this episode are going to be like, Codo Man, how is Edward Scissorhands a Christmas movie? Well, to be quite honest, it is. And the reason why it is a Christmas movie because its setting, plot, and themes align with the holiday season. In fact, the end of the movie takes place around Christmas time. So technically it is a Christmas movie. And to back that up, the Christmas setting is a significant portion of the film, which takes place during the Christmas season. I mean, sure, yes. I mean, 3 years down the road, we would get Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, but let's be honest, Edward Scissorhands kind of did it first. But let's be honest, Edward Scissorhands did the Christmas thing first. And also to mention, I'm leaving my guests hanging. My brother Mike is back on board with me. Mike, third time's a charm on a Tim Burton collaboration with me, huh?
That's right. Third time's the charm for talking about another Tim Burton movie.
But this time around the holiday seasons. So anyway, going back to the Christmas setting, so yes, the Christmas setting is a significant portion of the movie taking place during the Christmas season, featuring festive decorations, Christmas lights, and an overall winter atmosphere. Plus, the film's central themes of kindness, acceptance of outsiders, and the importance of family are strong Christmas themes. Plus, the ending even explains why it snows in the town, a direct link to the Christmas season. Plus, of course, to anybody who has seen Edward Scissorhands will remember the iconic scene, which is basically Edward creating a beautiful ice sculpture that makes it snow, which is a magical winter-themed moment directly tied to the holidays. To which Winona Ryder's character danced in the snow while you hear Danny Elfman's beautiful musical score.
Twice at the end.
Right, because the other time came at the end before the credits rolled in. Plus, it is a unique take on the holiday because for those who find the traditional holiday season isolating or difficult, Edward Scissorhands offers a unique and relatable story for the holidays. It's often cited as a gothic Christmas movie, which is still a Christmas movie, just a different kind. So technically, it is still a Christmas movie, but it's technically a different kind of Christmas movie. Now, to be honest, yes, Christmas is used more as a backdrop for this movie, but it still served a purpose for this movie.
Yes, and this movie came out in December of 1990, a year after Batman.
Actually, that's true. It came out around. That's true. It came out in December, so that technically qualifies it.
And then 2 years later, Tim Burton will go on to do another Batman movie, which is Batman Returns, and that movie is a Christmas movie.
Exactly. So technically, Tim Burton has 3 Christmas movies under his belt.
Yep. Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, and The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep. Now, before I go further deep into the movie, plus we are going to do a breakdown of this movie as well. Just want to let you know, to anybody who's new to Codo Cinema, welcome to Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. If you are listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more content. And if you are listening to this on Spotify and Podbean, don't forget to hit the follow button as well. So there you have it, folks. Now, to move forward, Edward Scissorhands is a 1990 American Gothic romantic fantasy film directed by Tim Burton, produced by Burton and Denise DiNovi, written by Caroline Thompson from a story by her and Tim Burton, and it stars Johnny Depp as the title character along with Winona Ryder, Diane Wiest, Anthony Michael Hall, Kathy Baker, Vincent Price, and Alan Arkin. It tells the story of an unfinished artificial humanoid who has scissors for hands instead of actual hands and is taken in by a suburban family and falls in love with their teenage daughter, being played by Winona Ryder.
Sounds like an interesting plot.
It does, yeah. Now, of course, cinematography was done by Stefan Zapsky, with Richard Halsey editing the movie, and Danny Elfman contributing to the film's musical score, and it was distributed by 20th Century Fox, although which is now owned by Disney. So technically, it is kind of a Disney movie now.
Well, even though it's distributed by Fox.
Technically, Fox did it first before Disney.
Yep.
And the movie had a budget of $20 million and it grossed $86 million. So I guess you could say it did pretty well at the box office.
Well, it was a critical and commercial success.
Yep. And of course, the movie went on to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Makeup, and I'm very positive that it shows for the main character, because looking at the main character, Edward Scissorhands, the makeup is pretty good, and it really represents the character pretty well, especially with the hair that he has and the facial scars.
Let's not forget about the costumes.
The costumes, especially Edward's costume, really, I'm pretty sure it really fits the character pretty well.
And Colleen Atwood did the costume design for
Yeah.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, and it's very gothic. Edward Scissorhands has a very gothic costume.
And I'll be honest, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The costume for Edward Scissorhands is amazing.
Yep. And it's also amazing, too, that the film also deals with themes with self-discovery and isolation. Although, yes, it is a gothic theme, but it goes into self-discovery and isolation for other themes, right? Because let's be honest, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, Edward is completely isolated. He's completely isolated until he's discovered by a family, right?
Well, one of the family.
Well, one of the family members, which is basically Peg Boggs, who's being played by Diane Wiest. Like, he was in isolation for like most of his life.
Because there was someone who created him.
Right, exactly. In fact, before we go into the breakdown of this movie, I thought I'd share how this movie came to be. Before this film was made, Tim Burton actually drew a character in his teenage years where he actually drew someone, a thin, solemn man with long, sharp blades for fingers.
Did he draw something as a teenager?
He did, yeah. He actually drew something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Burton stated that he was often alone and had trouble retaining friendships. And I quote, "I get the feeling people just got this urge to want to leave me alone for some reason. I don't know exactly why." End of quote. So like whenever he's feeling alone, when he was feeling alone, he actually drew a character. He actually drew a character, a man a solemn man who is thin with long, sharp blades for fingers.
And that would be Edward Scissorhands.
Exactly. So that's actually a very good idea. That's where he got the idea to make Edward Scissorhands. And of course, Caroline Thompson was brought on board as well to write the screenplay alongside with Tim Burton, because Burton was impressed with her short novel Firstborn. He felt Firstborn had the same psychological elements he wanted to showcase in Edward Scissorhands. So basically, Firstborn, Tim Burton actually read her book, Firstborn. He was actually impressed with the novel, which was about a monster fetus, and that's what he said. That's what he said when he first read the book. He was impressed. He felt that the book that Caroline Thompson wrote had the same psychological elements he wanted to showcase in Edward Scissorhands, and hired her to write its screenplay. And I guess you can say, to add on to it, like it reminds me a bit of the Hunchback of Notre Dame a little bit.
You know, it's nice how you mentioned it, because when writing the storyline, Burton and Thompson were influenced by Universal horror films.
Yeah, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the early version of it, not the Disney version. And then you got Phantom of the Opera, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, including King Kong as well. and various fairy tales, while also looking back into Caroline's book for Firstborn. And Burton was impressed with her short novel, which was about an abortion that came back to life. I mean, wow, Caroline had serious guts to write that story. I mean, gotta give her props. Gotta give her props, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's impressive too that Burton took a look at that book as well. Like, come to think of it, having the same psychological elements to showcase in Edward Scissorhands, that's pretty impressive because let's be honest, Edward does not have a family.
No, of course
He
not.
doesn't have a family. I mean, he was created by an inventor.
And this adventure was being played by the late Vincent Price.
Right, and Edward's not Edward himself in the movie is not a human.
No.
He's basically a humanoid, which is like a human but way different. So kind of like in somewhat of an android a bit,
Yeah, he kind of does look like an android.
minus the AI technology, so to say.
Yeah.
To be honest, going back to what I said about Caroline's book about Firstborn, that's stretching the bar right there. But give Tim Burton and Caroline props. They at least knew what they really took inspiration from that book, among many other projects like from Universal horror films, and of course other fairy tales too. Stuff like that, especially from a book which was about an abortion that came back to life. That is a hard subject to talk about. And the fact that Tim Burton and took inspiration and felt that it had similar psychological elements to and bringing that into Edward Scissorhands, that is not an easy topic to talk about.
No, it's very difficult.
It's difficult.
And of course, Burton originally wanted to make Scissorhands as a musical, feeling it seemed big and operatic to me. Well, to quote from Tim Burton.
Although it wasn't an operatic musical, I mean, not until at least up until Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Following the enormous success of Batman, Burton arrived to the status of being an A-list director.
He had the opportunity to do any film he wanted, but rather than fast track Warner Brothers, choices for Batman Returns or Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, Tim Burton opted to make Edward Scissorhands for Fox.
Yes, so this was after the box office hit of Batman.
Right.
So he was on the A list.
He was starting to become an A-list director around that time.
Especially after the success of Pee-wee's Big Adventure and Beetlejuice.
Right. And of course, going to the cast, although Winona Ryder was the first cast member attached to the script, Diane Weiss was the first to sign on. Diane, in particular, was wonderful, Burton said. She was the first actress to read the script, supported it completely, and because she is respected, once she had given it her stamp of approval, others soon got interested. And when it came to casting the lead role of Edward, several actors were considered. Fox was insistent on having Burton meet with Tom Cruise. He certainly wasn't my ideal, but I talked to him. Burton remembered he was interesting, but I think it worked out for the best. A lot of questions came up. Tom Cruise does Edward Scissorhands.
I wouldn't imagine that.
Well, just make sure he doesn't do his running form with those hands.
Oh.
At least for that movie, but I'm actually kind of glad. But I think Tom Cruise dodged a bullet on this one. He probably rode on his motorcycle.
Yep. Or hanging on a biplane.
Right. So Cruise asked for a happier ending. But anyway, Gary Oldman was on Burton's shortlist for that part, but he turned it down. Oldman didn't understand the script and found the story to be absurd, but I understood it after watching literally 2 minutes of the completed film. Even Jim Carrey was also considered for the role. Well, he will go on to do the Riddler for Batman Forever, to which Tim Burton was involved as a producer.
And of course, The Grinch.
Right. While Thompson favored John Cusack. Other actors, including Tom Hanks, William Hurt, Robert Downey Jr., and Michael Jackson, expressed interest, although Burton did not converse with Michael Jackson. I guess he was moonwalking on that.
Uh-huh.
Though Burton was unfamiliar with Johnny Depp's then popular performance in 21 Jump Street, he had always been Burton's first choice. much like Robert Zemeckis and Marty McFly for Back to the Future.
Yeah.
At the time of his casting, Depp was seeking to break out of the teen idol status, which his performance in 21 Jump Street had afforded him. When he was sent the script, Depp immediately found personal and emotional connections with the story. In preparation for the role, Depp watched many Charlie Chaplin films to study the idea of creating sympathy without dialogue. Fox executives were so worried about Edward's image that they tried to keep pictures of Depp in full costume under wraps until the release of the movie. Burton approached writer for the role of Kim Boggs based on their positive working experience in Beetlejuice. Drew Barrymore previously auditioned for the role. Crispin Glover auditioned for the role of Jim before Anthony Michael Hall was cast.
So it looks like Winona Ryder wasn't the only choice.
Nope.
Same could be said with Anthony Michael Hall.
Right.
Because you got Drew Barrymore and Crispin Glover playing like a love interest.
Right. So moving forward, Kathy Baker saw her part of Joyce, the neighbor who tries to seduce Edward, as a perfect chance to break into comedy. Alan Arkin says when he first read the script, he was a bit baffled. Nothing really made sense to me until I saw the sets. Burton's visual imagination is extraordinary. The role of the inventor was written specifically for Vincent Price and would ultimately be his final feature film. Burton commonly watched Price's films as a child, and after completing Vincent, the two became good friends, while Robert Oliveri was cast as Kevin, Kim's younger brother.
So yes, Vincent Price, this was obviously one of his last movies because he actually retired after the film was released because he was suffering from a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and Parkinson's disease.
And I think the way how he's presented in the film, I think it speaks for itself. Vincent Price, he was like in his 80s by the time, I think it was in his late 70s, early 80s by the time that movie came out.
And of course, Price died at age 82 of lung cancer on October 25th, 1993, at his home in Los Angeles, California. His remains were cremated and his ashes scattered off Nicholas Canyon Beach near Point Dumont in Malibu.
Yeah.
So rest in peace to Vincent Price.
Yeah, rest in peace to Vincent Price. Now, of course, moving forward, Bull Welch was the production designer for the movie, and I'm gonna be honest. You look at the production design in this movie, right? You don't notice the townhouses in that suburban area.
Yeah.
It looks like you're watching a Dr. Seuss movie if it was directed by Tim Burton.
Yeah, I would imagine if Edward Scissorhands was a Dr. Seuss character.
Yeah, come to think of it, it looks like you're watching a Dr. Seuss movie if it was directed by Tim Burton. Although obviously enough, the Gothic mansion was there too. It was built outside of Dade City in Pasco County, Florida. That mansion, you know, that big Gothic mansion that Edwards used to live in, at least when he was created, right?
Yep.
So then, moving forward, Stan Winston was the one who created Edward's Scissorhands.
He would later design the Penguin's prosthetic makeup in Batman Returns.
Yeah. Depp's wardrobe and prosthetic makeup took 1 hour and 45 minutes to apply.
An hour and 45 minutes?
Yep.
Wow. But hey, at least it's the same runtime as the movie.
I guess so.
This movie is 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Yep. So anyway, let's go into the movie, shall we?
Also, this is obviously one of Johnny Depp's earlier films.
Right.
And his first collaboration with Tim Burton.
Yeah, and I think over time, prior to the film's release, I think this is often considered to be Tim Burton and Danny Elfman's most personal and favorite work.
And of course, Depp's first collaboration with Tim Burton, and Depp also met Winona Ryder on set.
Yeah.
And I believe they were
I think they were dating around that. I think they were dating around that time too.
Yes.
Yeah, I think around that time they were actually dating, so I think that's what happened. Yeah, I do know I know for a fact that Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder were dating around that time when they were doing this movie. So anyway, let's get to the movie, shall we? So the movie opens up with the credits, and let's be honest, it is very gothic. That the credits are very gothic because of the imagery that is being presented over the credits. It's like it's almost predating Nightmare Before Christmas, but instead of like but with the credits this time.
Yep.
And of course, you got the haunting score. You got Danny Elfman's haunting score. Plus, it's also foreshadowing of what we're going to see throughout the movie, or what we're going to see in the movie. Like you see the actual hands going through the screen. You even see the dead body of the inventor. With I don't know, I don't know if he had the scars around that time on his face.
No, I don't think so.
And then you got those 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 robots that were able to make the cookies as well. Yeah, I'm kind of spoiling that already because that's kind of like foreshadowing of what we're seeing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, I mean, it's a pretty good setup. It's very haunting, but it's definitely a good setup. So anyway, one evening, also mentioned the 20th Century Fox logo was also snowing as well,
Mm-hmm.
hinting at the fact that we might be getting snow in this movie.
Yes.
So anyway, one evening, an elderly woman tells her granddaughter a bedtime story of where snow comes from, because it was also snowing around that time when she was telling the story. And this elderly woman tells the story of a young man named Edward, who is being played by Johnny Depp, who has scissors for hands. And yes, even the young even the young the even the granddaughter was like, scissors for hands.
Yes.
So the name of the man with scissors for hands, his name is Edward. He is the man-made creation of an old inventor being played by Vincent Price. And the inventor lived in a gothic mansion on top of a hill overlooking a small town. The mansion looked very scary, hellish, and spooky, and nobody ever went there. I mean, kind of makes sense because inside the mansion looks very scary.
Yeah. I mean, it's Tim Burton. You probably know what you're gonna get.
Right, it's a Tim Burton movie. You definitely know what you're gonna get.
But there was this one person that entered the mansion.
Right. So anyway, the mansion looked. So anyway, the inventor's final result was a human-like young boy who had everything: a heart, a brain, and all the organs except for hands. And of course, I will be getting to the flashbacks pretty soon. But apparently, this was revealed by the elderly woman that the inventor died while he was trying to finish creating Edward. And the only thing that was missing from Edward was his hands.
Yes, the hands.
And of course, after the inventor died, Edward is unfinished. And he remains unfinished forever.
And of course, the inventors suffered a heart attack.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Well, in a flashback sequence.
Right. So anyway, many years after Edward was created, local Avon saleswoman Peg Boggs, being played by Diane Wiest, not having any luck in her own neighborhood. I mean, kind of sucks for her. I mean, all of her neighbors, like, I'm gonna be honest, all of her neighbors literally, they literally slammed the door on her many times,
Why is that?
Well, she's trying to do that. She's a saleswoman, right? But her neighbors, her neighbors are, I'll be honest, they're pretty petty.
Mm-hmm.
They're very petty and pretty rude to Peg. And on top of that, especially her neighbor Joyce, right, who's being played by Kathy Baker, who is this one of those ladies who basically, who basically likes to seduce people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you ever heard of The Graduate, right?
Yeah.
You know that scene where Dustin Hoffman's character walks in on what's supposed to be her girlfriend's, basically her girlfriend's mom, and Mrs. Robinson. There we go, and Mrs. Robinson, who is basically the mom to the girl that Dustin Hoffman's character was hanging out with, and you get this line of Dustin Hoffman saying, "Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me." That's basically Joyce's character, the one who's tried to seduce a lot of men.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You know, for sexual attention, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, let's move forward. So Peg Boggs goes to this gothic mansion where Edward lives, and of course, like she notices when she goes into this yard, right?
Yes.
She goes into the yard and notices a oh man, all the bushes are trimmed into different creatures, right?
Yes.
Beautiful creatures too, to be
Mhm.
quite honest. Like one of them was a deer, and I forgot what the other one. I forgot what the others were.
Yeah, I don't know what the others are,
Yeah, I forgot. So
but Edward was able to create some in one of the neighbors' backyard, to which we're gonna get to that later.
right. So anyway, so the creation of an old inventor, Edward is an ageless humanoid. There she finds Edward alone. Like, yeah, she finds him alone. He's isolated.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's isolated, and I'm pretty sure there are like different pictures on the wall in that mansion too, up in his room at least.
Yeah, and
I think they're pictures of the world, and I think one of them featured Mother Mary as well.
Mother Mary.
You know, Mary, Mother of God.
Oh yes,
I think that was one of the pictures I saw.
And of course, Peg was also terrified when by the time Edward came out walking.
Right, like it's like if Edward scared the crap out of her for a little bit. Because here's the thing: has anyone seen a man with scissors for hands?
Whoa.
Aside from the inventor,
Yeah.
like she's probably the first person who has seen an actual human with scissors.
Yes.
In a long time, because remember, the inventor was technically Edward's father.
Probably.
Until he died, and he was left incomplete without actual hands. So this is probably Edward's first interaction with an actual human being in a very long time.
And that would be Peg Boggs.
And yes, and of course, as I mentioned, Johnny Depp plays Edward, and for the most part, he's very silent. For the most part, I mean, I love Johnny Depp,
especially after coming off the heels of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
He also appeared in the Platoon movie.
Right.
And of course, he was in the 21 Jump Street TV show.
Right.
Including Crybaby.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, moving forward, upon realizing he is virtually harmless, she decides to take him to her home. Edward becomes friends with Peg's young son, Kevin, being played by Robert Oliveri, and her husband, Bill, being played by Alan Arkin. He later falls in love with the Boggs' beautiful teenage daughter, Kim, being played by Winona Ryder, despite her initial fear of him. Although we don't really see her until, I want to say, the middle of the movie.
They show pictures of the family.
Right. It's basically, Peg's or Peggy. I'm going to call her Peggy. Her name is Peg Boggs, but I'm pretty sure there's people who called her Peggy.
And while showing the pictures, you hear Danny Elfman's score in the background.
Right. I think it's up until that moment when he sees
Kim,
the picture, right? And you notice that smile that he has on his face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's be honest, he is scarred for life, but he's starting to feel the love, right?
Yep.
So then what's also funny too is that Edward was sleeping in Kim's room for a couple of nights. Yep. It's like he walks into the bedroom with a pair of clothes, right?
Yep.
I mean, he kind of cut himself a bit after touching the mirror.
He also touched one of the stuffed animals
on the waterbed.
He actually patted one of them, like
you
hear
the water effect underneath until he accidentally popped it
and blocked it
with one of the stuffed animals.
Yep.
So anyway,
he was also trying to get dressed.
Right, he was trying to get dressed. He successfully put on his pants
except for the shirt, even though he was trying to put it on.
Right. And then obviously enough, somehow all the ladies, all the women in the neighborhood were basically, they're basically at the house wondering who's this guy? Who's this stranger that Peggy is with?
Yeah, who is that? Looks like a man with scissors.
Right?
Except for one neighbor.
Right, except for one neighbor, yeah. So anyway, and of course, the neighbors are curious about the new house guests. The Boggs threw a neighborhood barbecue welcoming him. Now, also to mention this too, when Alan Arkin's character was trimming the hedges, Edward actually trimmed the hedges as well, but turned one of the hedges into a dinosaur.
Yes, yes, a dinosaur. While Alan Arkin's character was listening to the bowling.
I think it was a bowling game
bowling game.
Is it a bowling game?
Probably a bowling game,
or maybe a baseball game. Or a football game. I don't know which ball game it is, but I do like the sudden detail of the cheer. I do like the detail of the audience and the spectators cheering.
Yep.
Like they're cheering, right? They're cheering for Edward for making this dinosaur hedge, right?
Yeah.
It's actually a very nice detail, as if everyone was there cheering on for Edward,
including the family.
right?
Especially he also trimmed the hedges and turned it into the family.
Right. And then at one point, one of the neighbors came over. There's this eccentric religious fanatic named Esmeralda, being played by Olan Jones. Like, she sees Edward as, like,
a demon from hell.
Right, a demon from hell, right? And Edward doesn't buy it, but of course, Alan Arkin's character, Bill, was like, don't listen to her. She's just trying to give you shit.
But Edward was like, we're not cheap.
Right. Edward's pretty new to the neighborhood.
Yes, he's very new to the neighborhood. And of course, after trimming the hedges, Kevin was trying to wash the scissors off with water, but
apparently Bill was like, no, you gotta use no, don't use the garden hose. It would rust up the blades. Use the oil can in the garage. Use the oil can in the garage.
Kind of makes sense.
But his scissors seem to be fine.
Yep.
So anyway,
they were having. Don't forget, they were having dinner.
Right, they were having dinner. First night they had dinner, and then there was a barbecue the next day, of the neighbors welcoming him. Right.
Yep.
And then Edward repays the neighborhood for their kindness by trimming their hedges into different like creatures. Right.
There's a ballerina.
I think different topiaries, if I'm saying it right, like different styles. Like you got a teddy bear one, you also got
a ballerina.
And I think there's one that looks like a stegosaurus, right?
Probably a stegosaurus. And there was also this one neighbor that also showed up with the can of beer, and he also said something like, I forgot what he meant. What he said.
Was it like, don't tell anyone that you're a cripple, right?
Yes.
I think that's what he said. Don't tell anyone you're different. Like, I think this guy used to fight. I think he fought in different wars,
Mm-hmm.
And then mentioned like how some people, and I think he mentioned something about being crippled, right?
Yes.
Because that part comes back later, because it kind of shows that he's a bit of a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
Because he tells it, hey, don't tell anyone hey, listen, don't let people tell you anything different,
Yeah.
And yet this guy actually said, oh yeah, and this guy said the cripple word again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, Edward, so you're telling Edward, hey, don't let people tell you anything different. Yeah, you got this guy saying cripple. He actually said it to
Kevin.
He said that to Kevin towards the end of the movie, but we'll get to that later.
Edward also tried out one of the salads.
Right, one of them's from Joyce, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of them's from Joyce and the other neighbors too. And then of course, Joyce, she's a housewife. In the neighborhood, being played by Kathy Baker. An aging seductress suggests that Edward opens a hair cutting salon with her. While examining a proposed site, she attempts, and actually at one point attempts to seduce him in the back room.
Oh boy.
I'll get to that later because we get to meet the daughter.
Oh yeah, that's right. And that will be Kim.
Right, Kim. Kim, and of course Jim as well.
Yes.
Anthony Michael Hall and Winona Ryder.
Also, this is Winona Ryder's second collaboration with Tim Burton
Right.
after Beetlejuice.
Right. And obviously, Kim comes home. She she soon realizes that Edward is sleeping in her bed, and I kind of find it funny that like it's like Edward is awake, and he was like, "Oh no,
Uh-oh.
yeah, Edward, yeah,
Oh, boy.
yeah, he got busted, yeah." It's like, did no one in the house tell Edward that this is Kim's room?
Uh-oh.
Did no one tell Edward did no one tell Edward in the house? Like, she freaks out for a split second and turns towards Edward from the mirror, screams, and Edward pops the entire bed.
With water coming out.
Yeah, water burst out.
She literally scared Edward.
I know, well, he didn't. I mean, to be honest, he didn't know that she was coming back, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was the first time he ever met her.
Yes, and she claims that there's a murderer with an axe.
A murderer with an axe?
Yes, that's what she says. First time I couldn't even understand what she was saying, but
a murderer with an axe.
Yes.
You call those scissors? I mean, you call that a murderer with an axe? That dude got scissors for hands. He doesn't have an axe.
No. And especially like the part where
he walks out. He walks out pretty funny. He walks out funny, and then of course Alan Arkin just brings him to the bathroom. It's like, here, come on, here, I'll help you out.
Yeah, but up until they both go down in the basement.
Right. At least Edward got a queen size bed down in the basement.
Yep.
I mean, and then Edward is scared. Yeah, he is scared. He got scared shitless after that. I mean, let's be honest. I think, yeah, let's be honest. Edward Scissorhands doesn't. I mean, he didn't really understand the world of teenage girls, to be quite honest.
Right.
Although, just to cheer Edward up, he takes it. He drinks lemonade, or is it? Nope, that was not lemonade.
That was liquor.
Nope, it was liquor. Actual liquor. It's like yeah, it's kind of funny that Bill gives Edward some liquor, even though he said it was oh yeah, it's lemonade. But the sudden detail, he kind of looks up a bit and was like, nope, that's not lemonade.
Nope,
it's not lemonade. And he drinks it from a straw. And if you also pay attention to, like, once he finished the drink, you hear like you hear the liquid going down his throat.
Yeah.
Because you definitely get the detail that, yeah, Edward Scissorhands, he's not your typical human.
No.
He's not. He's not. And then later on, Kim and Peggy come on downstairs in the basement to, meet Edward.
Yep. And he was still drinking.
Yeah, he was still drinking.
He was trying to say hi.
He's probably drunk.
Yep.
He's probably drunk. And then the next day, Edward trims another hedge, which is basically a swan couple.
Yeah, probably a swan couple.
Yeah, swan couple tries to drink, and Joyce offers him lemonade, and Edward was like, lemonade?
Did he actually throw up?
He did. I'm pretty sure he did. Because remember, he drank lemonade that night.
Oh.
But it was not even lemonade.
Nope.
All right, so
there's also a show and tell.
Right, show and tell. Like Kevin brought Edward to show and tell. Hey, show and tell Edward. He makes
paper dollies.
Paper dollies with hearts.
Mm-hmm. Or girls or children or something.
I think so. Yeah. Also, oh man, we're missing something. We are missing something. The flashbacks.
Yes.
Because prior to the barbecue, we get a flashback of the inventor. We see the inventor, walking in, seeing his inventions. Like, I guess you could say they're Rube Goldberg type experiments.
Probably.
where his automatons, I want to say automatons because they look like automatons.
Hmm.
And we're,
I hope it's not stop motion animation.
I think some of it is stop motion. I think some of it was stop motion.
Most notably the cookie cutters.
Yeah, because the automaton cookie cutters were cutting up cookie dough.
You can also hear Danny Elfman's musical score in the background. It has like a haunting vibe.
It's got a haunting, upbeat vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're making cookies, right?
Yep.
I like that also the little detail too, where the inventor picks up one of the cookies, which is basically a heart shaped cookie, and basically puts it on one of the automatons, right?
Yeah.
Cutting up lettuce.
Yes.
And that happened when Edward sees this one um can opener invention in the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's thinking back to when there was this other can opener invention at the mansion, right?
Yes.
So then we get another one when the inventor is reading a story to him.
And then one of them is poetry.
Right, one of them is poetry, and then I think the other one was
I think it was a drama or something.
probably, yeah. Where we see Edward in full form, but with scissors for now.
I think it was sitting.
Yeah, sitting, yeah. And if you also pay attention, there's also this instruction of how to make an actual human, right?
Yep.
And the last page sees Edward with actual hands.
Yes. I obviously love the costumes in this movie.
Yeah, the costume he wears is pretty good too.
I mean, Colleen Atwood did the costume design for Edward Scissorhands.
Well, she didn't get nominated for an Oscar though.
Well, she will later go on to collaborate with Tim Burton in other films, especially Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland, to which she also won an Oscar for Best Costume Design.
Right. Now, okay, let's move forward. Now, okay, now obviously let's move forward. So anyway, basically, Edward throughout this movie, he's being, he's becoming a neighborhood celebrity, so to say, right?
Yes, he was still continuing to cut the hedges.
Right. He continues to cut the hedges. He also went on a talk show as well.
Also sees Kim. Edward says, "Kim,"
With Jim, right?
and the other friend. And they were also having dinner too.
They were also having dinner at the house, yeah.
And Edward was cutting up some kind of a meat or something.
I think it was roast beef.
Roast beef.
Probably roast beef.
He tried to give it to this other friend,
but she was like, no thanks. He's using his hands.
I don't think it's sanitary.
Yeah. Tries to give it to Kim, but he accidentally drops it.
Yep, by accident.
Right. So anyway,
does Edward also gave the dog a haircut?
Yes, he does. He gives a couple of dogs a haircut
or fur cuts.
Or yeah, fur cut. and then prior to that, he gives all the housewives haircuts too, including Peggy as well.
Yep, pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, that's pretty amazing too.
And I'm pretty sure this was parodied multiple times in I wouldn't say films, but TV shows as well. There's also an episode of The Simpsons where Homer Simpson actually gave one of Marge Simpson's sisters a haircut.
Yeah, because I think paint accidentally land on on the sister's hair, and Homer gives her a haircut.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, while Edward was becoming a local celebrity, Jim becomes jealous of Kim's attraction to Edward.
Why is that?
Because it seems as though Kim and Edward are starting to become like, somewhat of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, prior to that, Edward goes to open up a hair cutting salon with Joyce, but apparently, going back to what I said, Joyce is a housewife who is an aging seductress. Going for trying to have sex. Trying to have sex with Edward, huh?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That's not good.
Not good, not good, not good. Even like Edward's just basically sitting in the chair wondering what the hell is going on. Like he's just like sitting there. And it's just like, uh-oh. Yep. She's trying to seduce Edward.
Mm-hmm. Just like in The Graduate.
Yeah, just like in The Graduate. Dustin Hoffman's character. Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me, huh?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, not good. But apparently Edward leaves in a state of panic.
Yep. And then he went into a restaurant where Kim, Peggy, and everyone else were there
Yeah.
in the restaurant ordering food.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure Edward told the story, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he's gonna be haunted by that too.
Mm-hmm. He also went on a TV show as well, right?
Right, he went on a TV show too.
He was about to use the microphone, but up until he got electrocuted.
Right.
And Jim even actually laughed.
Yeah, he did, yeah. So anyway, jealous of Kim's attraction to Edward, Jim takes advantage of his scissors, right? By asking him to pick the lock on his parents' home so he can steal his father's electronic goods and sell them to buy a van. Edward agrees, but when he picks the lock and enters the house, a burglar alarm is triggered and walls come down, trapping Edward inside, while Jim flees and Edward gets arrested. And even Jim threatens Kim, like, if Edward tells, Jim is going to kill him.
Uh-oh, that's not good.
Nope, not good. The police were there, tells Edward to put up your hands, right? But unfortunately, he has scissors for hands. Even the police were confused by his hands, too. Like, are those actual knives? And
those are scissors.
Right. And the police repeatedly tells Edward to drop the weapons, but apparently they see Edward as a psychopath.
Oh boy.
And the police is like, oh man, it looks like we got a psycho on our hands.
Uh-oh.
And they were about to open fire. They were going to kill this guy. They were about to murder him. Until the neighbors come out and tell him that those are his hands. Don't shoot him. Those are his actual hands. Those are his hands.
Yeah.
Until he gets cuffed.
I'm pretty sure he was in prison for one night.
I think it was a holding cell, actually. So the police determined that a lifetime of isolation has left Edward without any common sense or morality. Thus, he cannot be criminally charged. Edward, nevertheless, takes responsibility for the robbery, telling Kim that he did it because she asked him to.
When you meant she asked him to? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That would probably be Jim.
Yeah.
Jim was the one who sets it up.
Technically, Jim set it up. But even though Kim still did it, right?
Right.
Like even she said, she even said this to Jim. It's like, oh come on, it wasn't my duty. You know I didn't want to do it, but you did do it.
Well, yeah, she did do it, but it was obviously Jim.
Technically, Jim was the one who set it up, but she was still involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's not good.
That's not good, but Edward took full responsibility on that.
That's obviously a red flag right there.
Obviously a red flag right there. Even Edward was so pissed. He started breaking everything. And
he actually scratched parts of the wall.
And then the wallpaper inside the bathroom and the shower curtains as well.
Yeah.
And then also knows a little detail too. Part of his shirt is starting to come apart as well.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Kim tells Jim that I don't love you anymore.
But that doesn't come till the end of the movie.
Right.
So anyway, meanwhile, infuriated by Edward's rejection, so this is where the rejection comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is around the holiday seasons. Joyce exacts revenge by claiming that he tried to sexually assault her. Okay, that's a big fat lie. Mm-hmm. She tried to seduce him. You saw it, right?
Yes.
She tried to seduce him.
Mm-hmm.
She's making up a fake sexual assault allegation. That is not nope, not good.
Mm-hmm.
This added to the break-in causes many of the neighbors to question his personality and ruin his popular reputation. This is like what, for a week already?
Probably for a week or something.
Edward's dream of opening the salon is ruined when the bank refuses him a loan on the grounds that he has no assessment and collateral and is not legally a human. To be fair, that's that's technically true because he's more of a humanoid than an actual human being.
Because he was created by the inventor.
Right. So then later on, this is when the Christmas season rolls around. Edward is feared and cast out by almost everyone around him except the Boggs family, resulting in the family becoming outcasts as well. Yep. Even the housewives were like, are you going to this party or what? They were like, I don't know, maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Maybe not.
But all the foods were on the table.
Yeah. So anyway, while the family is setting up Christmas decorations, Edward creates an angel ice sculpture, and the shavings create an effect of falling snow, which Kim dances under. And let's be honest, this is the best scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
When Edward is making the ice sculptures and makes it snow, while and Kim dances in it. That is literally the best scene in this movie.
It's beautiful.
It is a beautiful scene, and I think this is both their and I think this is Tim Burton and Danny Elfman's favorite scene in this movie.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. You let the music tell the story.
You can hear the choir in the background.
How is it that this movie did not get nominated for Best Musical Score?
Yes, Danny Elfman has done a lot of great musical score. Yes, I love Danny Elfman.
Are you kidding me? He hit this scene alone. This scene alone, where Kim is dancing under the snow, dancing in the snow with the ice sculpture that Edward is trimming, says it all. It's the best scene throughout the. It's the best scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Until it gets interrupted by Jim.
Jim was like, "Hey!"
And of course, Edward accidentally slices her hand by accident.
It was by accident, but Jim was still angry at Edward.
Jim accuses Edward of intentionally harming her, but Kim, disgusted and fed up with Jim's jealous behaviors towards Edward, breaks up with him. Like, Jim tells Edward to get the hell out of here
and stay away from her. And then
Bill is up on the roof saying Christmas Day in the morning.
Oh, Christmas Day in the morning. Christmas Day in the morning.
While this hell of an argument is going on between Edward and Jim.
Yes, and Bill was like, "Hey, Edward, where are you going?"
Yeah, where is he going?
I feel like this is basically a precursor to Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, Edward, who is full of rage, he destroys one of his works and scaring Esmeralda with this trimmed up demon in front of her house.
Oh,
yeah, and I was like, yeah. Let's just say Edward scared the hell out of her.
Yeah, Edward also popped one in the tires.
Oh, that's right, in a fit of rage. And one of the housewives tries to call the police on Edward.
That's not good.
Nope, not good. But thankfully, he is calmed down by a wandering dog.
Right, and he also cut the dog's fur.
Right, just to see, right?
At least the dog gave Edward a lick.
Right.
And then Edward sees the police coming in, and he says, "Police." And then Danny Elfman's score comes back into the background.
Right. While the police were following Edward.
I just love
supposedly.
I just love his walking sequence.
Mm-hmm. So then Kim is fed up with Jim's behavior towards Edward, breaks up with him, and goes to his friend's band to get drunk. Yeah, that's what happens. And Kim's parents go out to find Edward while she stays behind in case he returns, which he does. Edward returns, finding Kate there, and this leads into another good scene where she asks him to hold her, but Edward hesitates, afraid of hurting her. Kim arranges Edward's scissor hands so they can embrace a warm hug.
Yep, and there was one more flashback sequence
where we see the inventor giving Edward a Christmas gift.
And that would be human hands.
Yes. And at one point, Edward seems to like the hands, right?
He does.
However, the inventor's time has come.
Yes.
Like, he dies.
Yes, he dies from a heart attack.
Right, and of course, also a detail too is that Edward cuts through the hands,
Mm-hmm.
like as if the hands were breaking, right?
Yes.
As if the hands were breaking, but also as if the inventor was breaking too.
Yes.
His heart has stopped.
Yes.
His heart stopped
And
beating.
this is sad.
It is sad because the inventor didn't complete Edward.
So Edward was totally incomplete.
Edward was incomplete.
He was incomplete. And the inventor wasn't able to complete Edward.
No. And it's really sad too to see his own creator dead.
Yes.
Probably the only father that he has. And the last moment that Edward does was he puts his hands on the inventor's face just to, I guess trying to wake him up. But what happens is he left a few scars on his face.
Yes,
And you see the blood on the blades as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really sad moment.
But
And it cuts back to Edward and Kim hugging.
and that is the end of the inventor. And
Rest in peace to Vincent Price. Though.
I mean, he did a very good job playing the inventor.
His screen time was limited, but it left an impact.
It does.
So then later on, while Jim is being an old drunk inside his van with one of his friends,
Yes.
he orders his buddy to drive the van to Kim's house.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just drive.
Yep. So anyway,
Yeah, I could definitely tell that he is drunk.
Yep. So anyway, Kevin walks home from a friend's house, and remember I said about that one guy who tells Edward, "Hey, don't tell anyone anything different about you, just because of being a cripple."
Hey, have you seen him?
He tells Kevin that if the police caught the cripple guy,
That would be Edward.
yeah, he straight up called Edward a cripple.
Oh.
Yeah, that comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that comes back. So that guy was basically being a hypocrite.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So then Kevin is almost run over by Jim's drunk friend. Drunk driving, so to say.
Yes, and Edward rescues Kevin.
But apparently accidentally cuts his face.
Yeah.
Leaving multiple scars. You see the blood on his face. Like it is gruesome.
It is.
Like he's trying to calm him down, but you see what he's doing with his fingers, right? He's like doing this typewriter thing just to calm him down, but like no, he's cutting his face open.
Yeah.
Like it is brutal. That movie's PG-13, right?
Yes.
That movie's PG-13. Like imagine like this would have been an R-rated movie.
Yes.
Almost an R-rated movie. But no, they snuck into PG-13.
Well, at least Tim Burton would do an R-rated movie of Sleepy Hollow.
That's true. In 1999. But of course, all the neighbors came over. Some guy comes over, and Edward accidentally slices his arm, and then Jim comes over to beat the living crap out of him. But
he assaulted Edward.
Right, he assaults Edward, kicks his ass, but Edward just literally grabs his shoulder and leaves multiple scars on it.
Yeah.
His arm was bleeding until the police arrive, and Edward runs away back to the mansion.
Mm-hmm. Where he belongs.
Feeling isolated again.
Yes.
And this is around the holiday season, right?
Yes.
You got the neighbors putting up their Christmas decorations, and now everybody's being selfish and rude to Edward.
I guess they're on the naughty list.
Yeah. They're except for the family though.
Yes.
Because the family really cares for Edward, telling everyone to leave Edward alone.
Mm-hmm.
Kim goes to the mansion to check in on Edward just to make sure he's okay. And Edward wants to make sure that Kevin's okay, which he is. But apparently this leads into a fight between Jim and Edward where the two fight to the death.
Well, Jim brought a gun.
He brought an actual gun, right? He brought an actual gun debris falls on top of Edward, and he was going to beat him with a chair,
I don't think it's not a chair.
what was it, a crowbar or something?
Probably a crowbar.
I think it was a crowbar. Yeah, it was
around a crowbar or something.
Yeah, a crowbar. He keeps hitting him on the back.
And it kind of reminded me of Beauty and the Beast a little bit.
All right, because Gaston was about to hit,
which came out
a year after Edward Scissorhands.
And someone made a comment on it, after watching the final fight, saying, "I cannot unsee the similarities between this scene and Beauty and the Beast when Gaston tries to kill the Beast because of Belle, but also pride and discrimination."
Just like the Beast, Edward's first concern is not Jim, but he has to kill him, as he is relentless and poses a huge threat to more than just the protagonist in question.
Yes, it kind of reminds me of Beauty and the Beast.
It almost, yeah, but Beauty and the Beast came out after that, so technically Beauty and the Beast ripped off on what Edward Scissorhands had.
So yes, this was a precursor to Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
So
so also never bring a gun to a scissors fight.
Yeah, that's the rule. Never bring a knife to a gunfight, or never bring a gun to a knife fight.
Never bring.
I guess in Edward's case, right?
Yes, and Kim picks up a wooden board
and smacks Jim with it.
Yes, because Edward was struggling to fight back.
Right.
And Kim says, "Stop it, or I will kill you myself."
Like, she threatens Jim. And of course, like, Jim kicks her off, and Edward slaps and kicks her off. Yeah.
And then Jim says this one last line: "Hey, I said stay away from her."
Like, Edward had enough. He stabs Jim right in the gut, and he falls backwards out the window to his death.
Oh.
Like, you see the look on Edward's, you see the look on both of their faces. Like, Jim is shocked. Like, he is shocked. You hear nothing out of Jim after those last words. And you see the look on Edward's face. He is mad. He is mad as hell because Jim just hits Kim.
And Edward was saying, "No, you stay away from her."
Well, he didn't literally say that, but you could definitely tell on the look in his face. And in his mind, he was like, "No, you stay away from Kim."
Yeah, but
that's a good point.
Yes, Jim got what he deserved.
But to be fair, Jim had it coming after that. Like, after how he treated Edward, like after what he did with Edward, like he literally had Edward arrested, completely trying to assault him on more than one occasion, and of course hitting Kim. Like, Jim had it coming.
Yes, this is obviously one of the scariest scenes out there in any Tim Burton film.
Right. So all the women came over, and I'm pretty sure all the other neighbors as well, to see Jim's dead body, and they're all wondering what happened to Edward. So apparently, Kim tells them that the roof caved in on them, and holding up an extra hand of blades she grabbed from a display case in the mansion as proof.
Yep.
See?
I mean, Edward is not dead.
No, he's not dead. But Edward and Kim share their first and only kiss.
Yes.
Goodbye.
And Kim loves him.
Kim loves him. But unfortunately, she leaves, right?
Yes.
It's sad. Like, these two will make a very good couple.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, it's not the case.
No, it wasn't. Well, technically, with Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder.
Right. Although their relation didn't last long either.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say this: Johnny Depp had more chemistry than Amber Heard. But anyway, the neighbors return home with Joyce being the last one left standing. Right. She has a guilty look on her face and feeling responsible for Edward's death. and for being the one who framed him in the eyes of the whole neighborhood.
Oh boy.
Like, yeah, you could definitely tell she has that regret,
Mm-hmm.
knowing the fact that, yeah,
What she had done.
she did play a role in this too.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Jim, technically both her and Jim are the true villains, but it's technically Jim who's the main villain. But I'm pretty sure it was Joyce who really set the bar.
Yeah.
And literally sent Edward on a dark path.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you could definitely tell that Joyce was the last one standing, which makes sense.
Yep.
Having a guilty look on her face and feeling responsible for Edward's death, and for being the one who framed him in the eyes of the whole neighborhood. And, of course, this is where, and it all ends with the elderly woman who is actually revealed to be Kim in her old age.
Oh my goodness. So that was Kim.
That was Kim the whole time.
And in that makeup. Winona Ryder in that makeup.
Yep. So she finishes the story and tells her granddaughter, saying that she never saw Edward again. She chose not to visit him because she wanted him to remember her the way she was in her youth. She also mentions that Edward is still alive, seemingly immortal since he is artificial and can never age, and he creates snow from his ice sculptures, which falls upon the neighborhood below, which has never had snow before. She tells her granddaughter that, and I quote, "Sometimes you can still catch me dancing in it." While Edward creates more ice sculptures, a flashback of young Kim is shown dancing under the snow, falling from the angel ice sculpture above her.
Yes.
And that's where the movie ends.
That is Edward Scissorhands. And where did Edward get the ice sculptures?
I don't know. I don't know, but hey, he got them somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Somehow Edward got blocks of ice
He did.
and made ice sculptures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he got paid for that too.
He did.
I mean, he's very. I mean, he's got an impressive talent right there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there you have it. But yeah, that's our breakdown. That's our breakdown on Edward Scissorhands. Sure, it may not sound much like a Christmas movie, but it still is. I mean, yeah, the ending of this movie takes place around the holidays, but you can definitely feel the sense. You could definitely feel the presence of it too, especially in the beginning and ending of the movie.
Yes.
The dance alone should solidify as a Christmas moment as well.
Yes, it does. And of course, Johnny Depp did a very good job playing Edward Scissorhands in that movie.
Yeah, all the cast members did really good. Tim Burton did a fantastic job, including Caroline Thompson, even Danny Elfman as well.
Yes. Also, Anthony Michael Hall did a fantastic job with his performance as Jim.
Right, Anthony Michael Hall, he went from playing wimp like characters to a guy who's basically a huge jerk.
Yes, he came off the heels with the John Hughes films.
Right, and he became a huge bully to Edward,
including National Lampoon's Vacation. Like, he went from National Lampoon's Vacation to being Clark Griswold's son to being an evil bully.
Right. Like I said, like Edward stabbed him in the gut. And you could definitely tell you see the blood on his stomach, right?
Yes.
Gushing, right? The blood was gushing when he landed.
Mm-hmm.
When he landed, even on the blades as well.
Yeah. That was so brutal.
That is brutal. Probably, I think that's I think that was the most violent scenes coming out of that movie.
It is. Also, Alan Arkin and Diane Weiss did a very good job.
They sure did, yeah. Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder, they're both the heavy hitters in this movie.
And Vincent Price also did a fantastic job in this movie too. Even though it was short limits.
Yeah.
Even though his performance was short.
Right. But anyway, other than that, I enjoyed the story. The story was pretty good.
Also, the costumes.
Costumes were good. The makeup for Edward was good.
even though it was nominated for an Academy Award,
Right. But it's
It-
still a good movie.
including the production design,
Right.
giving it that Dr. Seuss feel to it.
Like Paul Welch did a few other Tim Burton movies as well. He did Beetlejuice.
Yeah, oh, he did.
He did Beetlejuice, and I think he did a couple other Tim Burton movies as well.
Mm-hmm. And they also did a commercial of Edward Scissorhands with Timothy Chalamet.
Actually,
during the Super Bowl commercial.
Actually, that's right. I forgot they did a Super Bowl commercial where Timothy was the son of Edward,
Or something
like an incarnation of Edward, I believe. And
And-
Winona Ryder played the mother.
Yeah.
And this car that Edward was driving, it was one of those cruise control cars, I believe.
Probably the cruise control cars.
I think so. I completely forgot about that commercial.
Yes, that commercial really happened. Yes, it was during the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
The Cadillac.
yeah, Cadillac Super Bowl commercial. That was 4 years ago, Jiminy.
It was basically called Edgar.
Edgar.
Edgar Scissorhands.
Edgar. So I guess Edgar is the son of Edward Scissorhands, I guess.
Maybe. But very hilarious too.
I mean, a funny commercial, but you could definitely feel the emotion, the presence of what it would be like for Johnny Depp, Winona Ryder's characters.
Especially after 35 years.
Right.
Because this movie is celebrating its 35th anniversary.
Right.
But it still holds up to this day.
Yeah, this movie holds up pretty well. The story, the acting, the music, everything in this movie was really good. And this is often considered to be one of Tim Burton and Danny Elfman's best works.
And Johnny Depp will go on to collaborate Tim Burton in a few other movies.
Right, he does that.
And then and Johnny Depp will also play Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Right.
Throughout his acting career.
Yep. But other than that, that's pretty much it. So there you have it, folks. That is our take on Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, but I'd say that's a wrap for this episode.
Yep, I mean, it's still a good. I find this to be a good Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, if Die Hard could be a Christmas movie, so can Edward Scissorhands.
Including other movies like Lethal Weapon.
And Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So anyway, that would be a wrap for this episode. Mike, thank you for joining me on this episode.
No problem, Mark.
You'll probably hear him on for a couple more episodes, maybe.
Yep.
But anyway, that'll be a wrap for this episode. Thank you all for tuning into Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman.
And I'm Mike Codo.
Remember to watch movies and stay positive.